Welcome to NeedleXChange, where we explore the stories behind the stitches. I'm Jamie Chalmers, aka Mr. X Stitch, and today I'm interviewing Martha Hussey. This is the second part of our NeedleXChange, and we talk fresh off the heels of Martha's solo show in London, discussing DIY curation, as well as Royal Academy highs and near misses. Martha talks of textiles' growing place in contemporary art and why she's already sketching the next body of work. We also hit the soundtracks, the films, the books, and the beauty in the mundane that fuels her studio. While we're digging into the joys and perils of curating a solo show, I talk about Jack JPR Stitch Roberts, and you can find out about his experiences in NeedleXChanges 110 and 111, so that if you're planning a show, there's plenty of wisdom to be found. If you enjoyed this, feel free to share this episode with a like-minded friend if you'd be so kind, and I will be back next week with somebody else from the world of Stitch. So until then, enjoy the show. So let's talk about your recent solo show at the Three Rooms Gallery in that case. And if you want to talk about, there's a load of stuff to unpick here, but if you thought you were in your comfort zone before, how was it having an entire room of your work, an entire gallery?
3 rooms, yeah. It was so lovely, actually. I've been wanting to do that for so many years, and it's just things that have put me off have been like the cost of getting a gallery space, like the area, where would I do it? How would I do it? Like all these sort of things, getting the body of work, which I had, I was like, okay, I've got so much work I constantly make. So I knew that would be fine, but it was so lovely to see everything together and all those different elements. So I had like the big hairy portrait, and then like a giant tufted thing versus like tiny hinge profiles of like dating app portraits, and just showing that scale. And what was absolutely lovely about it, apart from it absolutely killed me putting this show on in many ways, but the feedback and reassurance and kind of like, not reassurance, but what's the word, like valid, like a validation in a way, like the people that came in said such lovely things and all had lovely reactions, and whether it would be kids who all flock into the window because it's so colourful and it was quite like a fun exhibition, and they all just like, the kids loved it, but then you had like the adults coming in and being like, wow, like didn't know you didn't. I don't know, it was just so lovely, the kind of response from it. I don't know what I was...
Not the Martha they were expecting necessarily.
No, I don't know. It just was, it was just good, because it was like I spend so long making and doing all these things behind closed doors, don't really get to see people, don't really get to, it's quite a solo, like you work in a studio on your own, you don't really see people, speak to people, and Instagram, but like then you get hit by the algorithm rhythms, you don't get to, you might not get any footfall or people viewing it, and I just assume everyone's already seen these things or whatever, and then you get a lovely feedback, and it makes it all kind of worthwhile. But yeah, it was a lot, because I had a lot going on at the time, and I did it all myself, and that you realise is, I mean, in general, being an artist, you're being your own publicist and you're making the work, you're doing the business side of things, you're doing this, like you do so many different elements to try that exhaust you, and then putting on a show and hanging it and transporting the artwork, and how do I do a private view? Oh God, where do I get booze from? How do I do, like there was so many things that I was stressing about. I didn't sleep for a week. I was in Paris until the night before the job, on another job, and I was literally getting 2 hours sleep a night because I just was lying there worrying, and then I was completely dead for the show. I'd lost my voice. I was basically iller than I'd ever been. I was like, oh my God, this is bad timing, but also great time. It's like, grab the opportunity and yourself, and I'm really glad I did. So it's lovely.
Yeah, it's that real like raw edge thing, isn't it? And there's so many complexity. Even just something as simple as, I've put this thing on a wall, what should I put next to this thing? Like sometimes it's that, and then like how far apart should they be, and all that really nerdy stuff.
Yeah, because I hadn't even, like, typical me, don't be, or most people have like done all the publicity and done all the planning and worked and done the curation and done. Had I done that? No, I walked in there on the day with the pieces and kind of like where that one looked nice there. Oh, but maybe that one should get, like basically spent an entire day hanging the show.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I've done that. We had an exhibition because I've opened up this. At the moment, I'm in the process of opening up an actual art gallery in the centre of my town. It's like a 2-floor retail shop. It used to be Burton's and Dorothy Perkins. But prior to that, we took over a single floor unit for a year and set it up as an art space. And we ended up, one of the shows we did was with an academy trust. So it's the work of 15 schools. And we had 270 pieces that started from nursery and went all the way through to A level. And we hung that in 2 days. And I was like taking the lead on that. And that was insane because you were just like, I've got some the basic principle was kind of friendly chaos with the nursery stuff all the way through to quite a formal arrangement when you got to the A level stuff. And as the years went on, like it would just get a bit more formal and a bit more organized and all those sorts of things. But even just that, just going, okay, we'll put that one there. We'll put that one there. I was like, don't put anything in a line first, and just because sometimes you just flying by the seat of your pants in some ways is the best way to do it.
Yeah. And like instinct, I guess, puts it all together in it. Like you just go with what your gut tells
Yeah,
you.
or you sort of have to like doing a lot of these things with two elements and just going, oh, there it is, and just knowing that there's a space that doesn't feel bad because that's about as good as you can do.
Yeah.
But then Jack Roberts, who's a friend of mine, JPR Stitch, he recently had an exhibition at the Brampton Museum, and his machine embroidered abstract pieces, he, clever bastard, he used lining paper and basically made a template on the floor in his house of the exact wall space, and then sat there and put his pieces on it and worked out how it would all work, and then just drew little lines, and then took those pieces of paper to the gallery, stuck them on the walls, bish, bash, bosh, knows exactly where they're going. I was like, why have I never done that in my entire life before?
Yeah. I mean, I guess, yeah, with all these things, you learn there's so many things I would wish I had done prior to the show and during, but you learn, and that was where I did the first one, I guess. But I already had people going, okay, so when's your next one? Let's keep it going. And I'm like, what?
Cool.
Yeah, for a while.
Let me, because what? It closed 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago?
Barely, yeah. I'm still recovering. I've only had like 2 days where I haven't done anything because
Excellent.
2 days off.
Yeah. How did it feel seeing all the pieces, all the different sizes, all the things together in a space? Because I guess that never happened before.
Exactly. I think that's what I really wanted to do, and one of the reasons I wanted the show, and to have it shown in a proper way, because having them hang around the studio and trying to photograph things doesn't give it the full effect of what the pieces look like. But I felt really proud. I felt like, it just showed how much I'd done in the past, probably over the past 4 years, if I think about how much I've just buried myself in it. It was really lovely to see. I felt like, okay, that's good.
Did you have any people that struggled to comprehend the fact that you were responsible for the whole thing? Because I feel like, like we said at the start, the variety in all the different directions, content, form, and all that.
Yeah, definitely some people that came in who I don't know, like just general public people. I did get people going, oh, is this your work? And I say, yeah. And then they'd be like, oh, all of it. And I'd be like, yeah. And then I'd talk them through it all. And then they just looked kind of like shocked at different, like, right, and what?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You ever tempted to go, I have multiple personalities?
Yeah. This one's done by.
Yeah, it's the easiest way.
This was.
The other question I wanted to ask you is the Royal Academy Summer Show worth the ag? In that, congratulations, you got in it. But I mean, I know so many people that go through such torment trying to get in it.
Yeah, it is such if you think about the people that have done it year after year after year and not got in and then got in, I think hats off to you for doing it like that many times. I did it, so what was it, 2000, so not this year's one, last year's one. And it was such a lovely experience. Yes, completely stressful, trying to get the deadline in, trying to get it all done, trying to like, especially with my work being so time consuming, I got really frustrated. Again, I always get frustrated when I see people pieces that take 2 minutes and they get in and they're like, and I'm like, oh, I killed myself. But that's my fault. And then when I actually did get in, it's such a lovely sort of celebration. They have this day where I didn't realize they have the celebration of the artist day.
Like the varnishing day, or is that what that is?
And you
Right.
do this whole procession down to the church with like a full on like full procession, and then they have a lovely like church ceremony and tell you that what you do is worthwhile, and it was really just so lovely. And then went back and had drinks and snacks and canapes, and then it was so lovely to be able to bring people, I don't know, family and friends to like the special little places within the building, and it's got such history. And yeah, I would say definitely worth doing. It is quite like, now it's gone up in price even more to just enter, which is always quite a sort of, I don't know, I suppose it's something you have to do. But I just think
How much is it?
well, actually, I think it's probably because this year I put two pieces in, so it cost about 80 quid to enter, plus the framing to get the pieces, and then they want it, all this sort of side of things. But I guess that's normal. And then this year I had two pieces shortlisted, and I got really excited because I just thought it was going to happen again, and it didn't go in this time. So
I see you're a glutton for punishment, though. That was she's been in. I'm not satisfied now. Going
now
twice.
I've got to do it again, haven't I? Yeah.
I'm sure you're not the only one who feels that way, though.
Yeah, I think I just all greed, wanted to go and do it all again, but maybe I should have just stepped aside.
Just a massive ego thing. Was there much other textile in there?
There's a lot more now. I think I remember, because I've been going to that exhibition since I was, forever, like since it's been going. It's always been like a favourite of mine, and yet I remember when there never was textile work, or there'd be like one piece, and I'd think, are they going to want me? Are they going to let me in, or whatever? And since then, there's just this huge amount now. Like, there's a lot of textile work and embroidery, and the room that I was in was basically like a textile room.
But that does feel a little bit like a sort of, this is where we put the special kids.
Yeah. Let's just put the people that need therapy in here.
Yeah.
In fact, it was the turmeric room. Like the walls were painted turmeric colour, and it was to do with healing. So, I'm like, all right, guys, we just like stitching.
And was there a sort of solidarity among those of you in there? Because it's always just a struggle, isn't it? It's really nice to realise that there's more representation of textile arts in that now than there's been for a long time. It feels like a tide might turn eventually. But I've been doing this stuff for best part of nearly 20 years, and the tide is still not turned. So is there a sort of solidarity among those of you because you realise you're sort of like pioneering or something?
I don't know, actually. I made some great friends who were all in there, who I met at the show, but they weren't textile artists. But I guess, I hadn't really like met the people that I was in that room with. But I do think, on the whole, because I love textile exhibitions and I find them like much more interesting than a lot of other ones, I do think there's been a massive change, and there is a huge amount more. It's growing and growing, so that's good to see, I think.
And you're based in London, are you?
Yeah.
Because I guess that seems to be, that's the challenge, isn't it? Is going, how do the established galleries in London treat it as not a novelty, perhaps?
Yeah, it's I don't know. There's quite a lot now. I think I've forgotten. Is it 154? There's an exhibition that's just happened. I've probably got the numbers wrong, which is awful. But an exhibition at Somerset House, which was brilliant, and that was a huge, like all levels textiles, and it was such that really impressive. And then I remember loving In the Black Fantastic at the Hayward Gallery, and that was like Nick Cave sound suits and loads of different types, huge amount of work in there that was fascinating. So I don't know. I think certainly here, I don't know if it's all around, but in London, I think there's definitely a huge amount more of textile interest.
Yeah, and that's good, isn't it? Because if you can make it there, then you can kind of make it anywhere. It bodes well.
Yeah,
Again, it's something I'm hoping to lean into with the gallery that we're setting up here. Because I'm like, well, if I'm like organizing a gallery, I may as well just lean into the thing I kind of know about. So
yeah,
I think it's quite
exactly.
exciting. So you've done all this, and you're just recovering from the show. How is your creativity feeling at the moment? You got lots of ideas bubbling under the surface, or are you just going to have a bit of a rest?
I always do, and I'll tell myself that I'll have a break, and then I'm already. I've just been making a series of other. I've actually just I gave myself like 2 days off, and then I was itching to start again, so I've already started on a new series. And I'm going away this weekend, having a bit of a country break, and but I was already thinking in my head, do I take stuff? Do I need it?
Mhm.
Proper break? But yeah, I've got so many lists of ideas that I just can't get out quick, like not quick enough. Well, in a way, yeah, because the work takes so long. But I need to write it all down, otherwise I forget what I want to make. And I think that's part of once you're in it and you're making and you're creating, that's when even more ideas come, and that's when it sort of flows. The fact that I continue to do it all the time means that I'm constantly thinking of the next, like, next thing.
Yeah, and I think what's lovely is because your work is all these different formats and forms, then like you're out of your own way. Like a lot of the time, it feels like people can, you know, their creativity is in a certain format. Like you said, like stitching on plates, whatever it is, making stuff out of X-rays, and so they're like, that must be the thing I'm doing. And for some people, 100%. That's the thing that they're doing. That's what they were put on the planet to do.
Yeah.
It feels like with yours, you can just have an idea and you'll give yourself permission to rock on and try it because that's the kind of person you are. It doesn't matter whether it's big or small or whatever. You've just got this and you just let it outpour.
Yeah, I just whatever I feel like in the moment and feel like I want to work with. But I just there's something I can't get enough of with embroidery. It's the feeling of like like bringing a thread through. I don't know. There's something about the texture of it all, and when you finish it, feeling that work that's gone into it. It's like you've literally woven a story into it, and it's got such a nice texture to it, and the depth and like the thickness shows like how many hours have gone in. You like For me, it's like I feel quite satisfied when I see a piece finished. I don't
Mm.
know.
Yeah, no, it's lovely, isn't it? And I guess, I mean, how reflective are you on the subject matter? Because some of the stuff's more meaningful than others, I feel. Like, say, the stuff to do with the hinge things, the dating app profiles and stuff like that. Is that something that you did for a laugh, or was that something you did to kind of process
I
something?
think
Or
that was because I was so fed up with being on the app and being like just depressed with what was what was like out there, and going, "Do you know what? I just would rather just not at all." And I spent half the time, which I think a lot of people do, just screen grabbing and sending it to people, going almost like, "This is why I'm single. This is not. I'm not doing it because I'm. This is. Would you like literally? Would you?" And then I'll be sending it to people, and we'd all like just have a discussion about it. And thank God I'm off all of those. I gave up. But it was just it's fascinating. Again, it's that human like behavior and what people think, like people's characters and what they choose to put out there and how they work in a relationship. I find all that fascinating. So yeah, sometimes it's things that have either frustrated me or quite prominent in my life at the time, and sometimes it's just visually. I love. I don't think I ever used to love color as much as I do now. Now there's like it's color and texture and warmth and humour, and maybe that's because I'm out the other end. So
yeah, it could
maybe
be.
that's my seriousness.
It's reminding me. There's a Reddit forum that I follow that's called LinkedIn Lunatics, which is just people on LinkedIn doing stuff. Like, yeah, it's okay. We're sleeping for 72 hours, or like, well, China, just working 11 days a week, guys. We don't need to be paid for this. We're in it for the long haul, and you're just like, oh, please.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
too. Right. Let's pivot then, because I am interested in what you listen to while you're working and whether you listen to certain things in certain mediums, and therefore Do you have a favourite album? Do you have a favourite band, etc.?
It was so hard, as I'm sure everyone said to you, that question, because I don't think that, like, a lot of people these days don't have the patience or don't sit through an album anymore, which is so important, because when you think about, you know, how an album's created from start to finish, or the story, or the way it's all like linked, or, you know, like the creativity in that, I think it, you know, I do want to start listening to albums again. And I've also got a really bad memory. So trying to think of an album that I'm sure I'll be kicking myself going, damn, that's a really great album. That's a really great album. But one thing that just weirdly popped in my head was, not weirdly, but whenever I hear Paul Simon Graceland, I'm always really happy. And I could listen to that from start to finish. I don't think there's a bad moment in that album. And I think it's a nostalgia thing, because it would be like car journeys with my family. So I think that is quite a good one. I could, you know, it'll always put me in a good mood. But I tend to listen to Spotify or radios, or, you know, like something that's going to give me a constant change, probably like within my work. I don't really stick to one thing. I'm quite eclectic in my music taste, you know, from really sort of, I don't know, old school, I don't know, like 90s R&B to, you know, classical music to folk to something really, you know.
So you're saying you've got Craig David on when you're doing those pink pieces?
No, that I will say no. I can't go that far. Yeah, I don't know. I could be listening to, like, say I'm listening to Radio 6. I can absolutely love a section where, like, Sunday morning, and you've got like all this world music that's kind of really fascinating, to then going, oh my God, this is hurting my ears. What the hell are they playing? And I have to quickly switch over because it just sounds like noise. And yeah, I'm kind of just a bit eclectic.
Well, anytime anyone picks an album that I've got in my record collection, I'm very happy. So thanks for that. Graceland gets a fair rotation in our house, because, as you say, it's joyful, isn't it? It's just a lovely thing to listen to.
Yeah.
I also I quite like Saturdays on Six Music, because I like Giles Peterson and Jam Supernova and all that kind of strip of music in the art. Even Huey Morgan, like, he just plays pretty decent music. Yeah. Do you ever listen to BBC Sounds?
I don't think I do, but I think I've quite often thought, oh, I need to, because there's been things that either someone's told me about or I've heard on something, thought that sounds good.
Because they have all the shows that they play, but then they also have other ones. Like, there's one I like listening to that's called The Morning After Mix, and it's just curated playlists of like 2 hours, but kind of mellow, kind of feel good sort of music. But like within the 2 hours, there'll be like 9 different genres. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing.
That sounds good.
Quite a nice vibe or whatever. I've been surprisingly taken by that. Like, I listened to that more than I would have expected, really. Okay, that is a good shout. And so it's not like medium specific then. You don't have certain types of music like Chemical Brothers when you bust into a tufted rug or any of that sort of thing?
No, but I used to listen to like AC/DC when I was stitching, and I found that something like the speed of it, like, it depends. If I'm listening to something, it can like speed me up, or it can get me,
I used to find drum and bass was too much for cross stitching because it was too fast.
The front looked as messy as the back.
Yeah, and the waltz music is just a hard no in any direction because it's a 3 count and it completely throws you off. So I was going to try and get the spin class instructor. I go to spin class. He's always up for musical suggestions, and I was going to see whether we could do a waltz, just to see if everyone would like fall off their bikes or something, because it shouldn't really be possible.
I'd love to see that.
Let's do TV or films. I mean, it's a bit of blurring the boundaries there. I'd imagine you're so busy creating that you don't really watch telly.
Or the opposite,
opposite is always on.
Something that's very time consuming, and I'm like, I'm not just going to sit here. I'll either do it to music, or I will put something on. And so sometimes I can look at a piece, and I know there'll be like a weird feeling or a memory, and it's because I've watched a film and there was something happening during that section of that face.
Right.
Or, you know, like, I've spent so long looking at this, but at the same time there's something quite strange happening. So what, film or...
Let's do film, because that seems fair. You might have prepped that.
Yeah. Again, this was something I was like, I would always struggle to think of a film. There's so many incredible films out there. But I always, of all my life, said that True Romance was my favourite, and I think it was the era it was that time in my life. It was the style of it. I was quite I was drawn to it. I think it had a lot of good elements, like you know it it's an all rounder. I think for me, True Romance, and so many parts of my life kind of yeah, I wanted to be Alabama. So I even had blonde short hair at the time. I wore a lot of leopard print. That
Went on a killing spree, all of that.
definitely, yeah, using a corkscrew. But yeah, I think that was a favourite. But and then I was thinking like Romeo and Juliet and German because again, it's like that visual like onslaught and music and that time of my life, and it was quite. I was impressionable. It was just like a whole. Yeah, it's a bit culty, it's a bit sort of. It was amazing at the time. So those two are probably I could watch again and again.
Yeah, I can see that. So a romance story, but it's got a fair bit of darkness thrown into it for good measure. Actually, people dying in both of those films. Now I stop and think about it.
Yeah, and I don't, I'm not one for like romance films or like cheese. I need a bit of yeah, need a bit of something. And I
True
think that
Romance is a great show, actually. I always like, is it Val Kilmer, wasn't it? It was always Elvis in the toilet in like.
barely showed in it. He was like he's sort of barely in it, but he's a big part. But I think also like aesthetically, all the kind of Mulholland Drive and thinking of like Reservoir Dogs and films like that. The kind of Americana like diner,
But is that? It's like American kitsch, but it was like, but not like cheesy, but then not like, sorry, America, but not like modern, depressed, broken America. It's that bit that pre-broken America.
story, yeah, the good days.
Yeah, but not like the glam of New York or anything, isn't it? It's like the suburbs. It's almost a bit like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas kind of vibes, you know? You might not have
Don't
played
know
that.
that, but
No. God.
I know what you mean. But yeah, it's that. I think I'm quite into that now. Funny enough, the nostalgia of all of that now. I'm into like the classic cars and the palm trees and the kind of old diners where you've got like the reflection of the window on the table and you've got like an old gingham cloth or there's plates of cherry pie and I don't know. I think that side of things I've probably always glamorized.
I could see you having a sort of 1960s Corvette.
Yeah,
Do that kind of
be nice.
girl.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
that
actually
seems good.
I'm stitching some classic cars at the moment with vintage floral fabric, but then threads in sections and sort of bringing in the.
Did you do one ages ago? You've done cars before, haven't you? You do like
Uh,
some like little sports car or a Subaru or something. Am I completely imagining that?
Maybe I haven't forgotten, but I don't think so. I've always loved them, but I don't know if I.
Not in like the Margate thing or anything, because that was lots of little pieces.
No,
I must have made that up then. Just projecting forward. Knew it
maybe
was
I have,
coming.
but I've completely forgotten. But no, oh no, I did. I stitched one on. I had a hole in my cashmere jumper, so I stitched a vintage car on the front of my jumper,
Maybe that's
as
it.
you do, just to cover
But
the.
yeah, well, I mean that's decorative mending with a nice.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Oh, good
Okay.
old Porsche.
And if you're watching telly, does it have to be like garbage telly that don't really have to pay attention to? Sort of.
Yes, yeah, definitely can't do subtitle. I used to love subtitled films, and now I'm like, no, never a chance. I'm going to know what's going on.
Impossible, isn't it? Impossible. Yeah.
I've always looked away. Yeah,
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so then books.
books. Oh,
I mean, it can be the last good book you read. I don't want to, I don't want this to be too much of a struggle.
the last good book I read was Miranda July's All Fours, which I thought was brilliant. I also absolutely love her because I was in my 20s when I read No One Belongs Here More Than You, and I just find her quite fascinating as an artist and a writer, and her.
Isn't All Fours the one that makes a lot of women just leave their husbands or something?
Probably, yes.
I mean, my wife recently read it, and now I'm quite nervous.
No, I don't. Yeah, it's definitely a kind of. I don't think I realised it was all about what it's about, but she's just brilliant, and I think I was quite shocked. I think a lot of people are quite shocked when they read it. They were like, "Oh, I didn't know it's going to go down that tangent," but it's such a good book. And then another book that I was so thrilled I found was The Threads of Life by Claire Hunter.
Yeah, I've
You
got
ever
that.
read that?
Yeah,
It's like the history of, yeah, the history of the world through the eye of a needle. But literally, like, I found it so fascinating with literally stories from around the world and history, but things I never knew about embroidery and tapestry and hidden messages and the meaning behind it all and how people have used it over the years. And I just thought that was quite a beautiful book.
Does that? How much does that diaspora weigh on you as a textile artist? Like, have you ever like because like I've had my moment. I've talked about it before, seeing some like Chinese textiles from like 900 BC and being like, holy crap! Like
Yeah.
this is like a civilization long medium that we're taking part in. Like, does that sit with you? I sort of feel like it probably doesn't. But that's not me saying you're not serious, but almost like you're doing you, and it just happens to be within a context that is centuries old, sort of thing. You're not. It just
Yeah.
ties in.
I think I'm always fascinated when I find out the meaning behind some cultures and some history of a. It's not just a sort of woman's work where you're sat and like embroidering some hoop. When you hear about the stuff that's in that book and the kind of it, the history is fantastic. Like that side of it, I don't think it reflect. I don't think what I'm doing is.
Hmm.
I don't know what I'm
No.
saying.
But you could. It's like saying you could be making stuff out of circuit boards, and people would be going, "So, how do you feel about the advent of computing?" And you'd be like, "Well, it's largely irrelevant to what I'm doing. I just happen to be using circuit boards."
Yeah, I think we all use it to tell a story, and so there's things that run through, the history and that side of things. As now, I don't think, yeah, it's not necessarily relevant in my work, but it's also I don't know, just found it fascinating to read about. I don't know if it reflects me
No,
in my
but
work.
I think you're a good addition to the timeline. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no harm in that because yours is. I was just trying to think. Yeah, no, I was trying to think of some analogy that sounded wrong, but in some ways it feels like I don't know, like yours is a sort of a playful blog or something. Do you know what I mean? You're just taking snapshots of the world around you in different formats and just showing them to
Yeah,
people.
and in a funny way, I guess when you think about tapestries that have told stories over the years, I'm just thinking whether, a lot of my work now can be mundane things that I've just seen or are literally day to day life or things that we can all relate to. And in a way, in the history of tapestries, that would have been what was going on at the time. It's just
Yeah,
different timelines and different
yeah,
worlds that we're in. But we
mm,
are all like, yeah, just telling a story of what we see around us, I guess.
yeah.
Maybe that's, yeah.
I love the beauty in the mundane. That like for the hang
Yeah.
on, what was it? March, April, May, June. For the 4 months last year when I had some capacity to think about doing an art project, it was very much focused on the history of the mundane. That was in between my old dog dying and my new dog. We got a puppy, and now I haven't got any processing time for anything creative whatsoever because life is full. But I love the beauty in the mundane. I think that's something that we don't really do enough of because
Yeah.
everyone's like creating these false versions of reality. Whereas like the cross
Mm.
stitch thing that I'm working on is a pixelated shot of like 4 pieces of cutlery in the bottom of my sink.
Oh, I love that.
But there's something there, that kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
There was an artist who was taking sections, like literally taping a square of like different parts of his kitchen. I wish I could remember his name, but I just remember thinking I quite liked it. It was like things that you wouldn't necessarily think. It's not like the view through a room or a vase on a table. It was like, here's like the handle and the corner here where there's like part of the old mug that there's a stain that, like it's just things that you see around your kitchen, but you wouldn't like put any emphasis on. And he was
Yeah.
painting these like sections.
I remember Joetta Maui, who I interviewed. I want to say NeedleXChange 008, but it probably isn't.
Oh,
In fact, definitely isn't. But like she was into like liminal spaces, still is, and the way light hitting a surface and then like hitting a surface has gone through a curtain or something, and just the observations on those things, and that's even more of that. That's like stopping and smelling the roses to the nth degree, really. I think
yeah.
there's something in that. bits of magic.
I always get distracted when I'm like, I remember I get quite a lot of light in this room, and when I can tell I basically look like a ghost because everything's wiped out. But when I was tufting, I caught the reflection because the sun was behind me of like the shadow of this giant gun, and then there would be like the thread, and I ended up like getting distracted from what I was actually doing and photographing the wall of these like, threading needles and like the reflections that were happening.
It's tricky when you're an omni-threat, isn't it? There's art.
Yeah, God. Oh my God, hang on a sec, let me do some photography.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I tell you what, I'm going to spray paint that on a mural now. That'd be brilliant. Okay, a fact that not a lot of people know about Martha Hussey.
Probably loads because I'm quite an introvert. There's probably like loads of things people don't know about me.
We won't talk about the killing spree alluded to earlier.
No, well, I like to keep that one secret. So I I've always hated phone calls. So this is okay because I can see your face, but I generally get really. I don't like phone calls with anyone. Like, I mean, unless I'm really comfortable with the person, like I'll speak to my mum or my sister or my best, like. But generally, there's something that I've always had since I was little of not being able to see someone's face. I can't see if they're. It's a trust thing, and it's also about reading someone's expressions because people can like put across like that they're acting a certain way, but they could be pulling a face behind your back. And I think that's also coming from having been at a girls' school and growing up with mean girls who,
Right.
I don't know. There's definitely an element of not trusting what someone's saying unless I can sort of check.
Oh.
Which is weird. I'm trying to get better at it and make phone calls, especially in
Do an
day-to-day
art
life.
project about that, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe it'll like heal it, bring it out of me. I don't know. It's an odd one. I think that's why I was really interested in like reading faces and maps.
Yeah. That is a very vulnerable thing to share, so I appreciate you doing that. Do you feel the same way about voice notes?
No, I was thinking about this today, and I was like, actually, I can. Again, I'd only do it if there's someone I know really well. But I quite like the way that you can just cut off when you want to cut off. You don't get stuck in a phone call that you might want to get out of, but you don't know how to get out because you're being really polite. Or I think there's something about voice notes that are quite precise. Gets say what you want to say.
That is true. It is quite nice getting to a certain age where you can just say, and I've had enough of this. I mean, you don't do it to your friends, but I've had enough of this conversation now.
Yeah, but I like that. I like that. Other, some people that just say, anyway, I've got to go. Like, and I like the way they do it, but I'm really awful at it. I will let someone rabbit on for 3 hours because I can't bring myself to say, anyway, got to go.
Yeah.
Don't talk anymore.
Just going into a tunnel. I thought I was phoning you on your home phone, Martha. That's not the point. That's
I've also got another thing not everyone knows about me. I've got a mannequin of myself.
Okay, please explain.
And it's above my wardrobe in pieces that looks like some nasty things happened because I don't know where to put it. But Rootstein mannequins made 3 mannequins of me, and they hand paint the face with oils, and they do a wig department that does the wigs, so it looks like you. So it's actually quite creepy that there is actually like another me.
How does it come to pass that someone chooses to make a mannequin of you?
Oh, because I modelled for like 20 odd years. It was a modelling thing.
Were you part of a series? Were you like a famous model?
Not famous, but I
mean, clearly, I haven't heard of you as a model, so I mean, I'm not big on the gossip, but so yeah. But I mean, 20 years—that's a pretty long career.
25 actually, yeah.
Wow.
Still doing it, but yeah, it's just such a weird. It was such a lovely experience in a weird way because I remember thinking, oh, they're really scraping the barrel. Why am I having a mannequin made? Like sort of thinking it was going to be plaster cast, and I got to sit in this artist studio, and he created a complete sculpture, like head to toe, sculpted my face bit by bit, and I was literally in awe of this man's like skills. And then they do a fiberglass, version, and then they spray it, and then they do all the,
Bloody hell! So it's like really not just like it looks a bit like you.
No, it's like it's fascinating watching it. And then the fact that we got on really well. We used to just sit and I had to go for sittings like you would do life drawing basically. And he built it like bit by bit. And I got on really well with him. We just have like tea and biscuits on our breaks and chat and listen to radio and stuff. And then he was like, I want to give you one. And I remember being like, this is so amazing to have, like, it's such a piece, but who has to mannequin of themselves? And like, I've got no room for it. I don't know what, but yeah.
Can it be a hat band? Could it be put to practical uses? Could it be in your window waving at passers-by?
I know, it'd be good at Christmas, do the Home Alone. If I'm ever away, pretend I'm there, but no.
Well, those were both brilliant. I think they were very two good facts. I don't think I would have guessed in either direction. Do you think the mannequin version of you prefers having phone calls just to bring?
Oh, she's always on the phone. I can't
Dreadfully
chatting away on top of my wardrobe.
Really confident all the time.
She also loves voice notes. It's really annoying. They're very long and they don't contain anything interesting.
You could project onto it, like it could turn out that mannequin's the best version of you, and you'll be like, oh, I hate her now.
Yeah, jealous of her. I'm jealous how she never ages.
She never ages. She's got more Instagram followers than you have.
Yeah, she never has to work out. She never.
And when she does a piece of work, she literally takes about 4 minutes, puts it out there. Everyone thinks it's marvelous. Yeah. It's a cup.
God,
it's a cup with some sellotape on it.
Yeah.
Martha, thank you for having NeedleXChange with me.
Thank you. It's been lovely chatting to you.